The phone rang at 9:13 p.m. Her voice was too steady. That was the first alarm. She said it in one breath, rehearsed, like lines read from a script. "I want a divorce. Don't call me. Speak to my lawyer." Silence, then a number read aloud. I didn't ask why, didn't beg, didn't even answer. I only listened to the empty click when she hung up. I sat in the dark kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator louder than my heartbeat. Divorce. The word rolled around my skull like a coin tossed into a hollow box. Why so cold? Why so sudden? I thought of her face the night before, smiling faintly across the dinner table, distracted, her phone always within reach. Something had been eroding, and I had ignored it. Now it was no longer erosion. It was demolition. The lawyer's office was quiet when I arrived. Polished mahogany. A receptionist who wouldn't meet my eyes. When the door opened, I stepped in, extended my hand. "Yes," I said, calm as stone, "I'm the husband." The lawyer's hand trembled. His eyes darted away. His body shook, not from nerves, but from guilt. I knew in that moment that my wife had not been alone in writing the script. I sat across from him, watching his throat tighten as he slid the papers forward. Divorce documents, typed, signed, her signature already stamped at the bottom. He tried to maintain composure, but his fingers betrayed him. They twitched when my eyes met his. Lawyers don't shake. They hide, they manipulate, they posture. But they don't tremble, unless the client isn't just a client. I let him speak about irreconcilable differences. His words were dust in the air, meaningless. I wasn't listening to him. I was listening to what he wasn't saying. And I saw it then, her perfume lingering faintly on his sleeve, subtle but familiar, jasmine with a sharp citrus bite. Hers, always hers. The realization didn't break me, it crystallized me. So this was why she had been so careful, why the lawyer shook, why she refused me the dignity of a conversation. It wasn't about divorce. It was about hiding the rot long enough to cut me out cleanly. Infidelity dressed up in legal language. Betrayal disguised as formality. I signed nothing. I left without a word. But as I walked out, I caught the reflection of his face in the glass door. Pale, sweating, guilty. I knew then she was his. Or at least, he thought she was. I became quiet, methodical. At home, I moved like a ghost, checking phone bills, cross-referencing dates. The gaps aligned too neatly. Nights she claimed to work late, evenings when her car wasn't in the driveway, weekends with friends. I retrieved a hair from her brush, a toothbrush from the bathroom, sent them away in a small envelope. DNA testing, private, discreet. I needed to know if the children I raised carried my blood, or if even that had been stolen. While I waited, I played the role of the discarded husband perfectly, silent, absent, defeated. She believed the performance, too busy preparing her escape to notice the calculation behind my eyes. Every night I thought about the lawyer, his shaking hand, his inability to face me. She had chosen not just betrayal, but insult, a man paid to handle her separation and her bed. A double entanglement, cruel in its precision. I didn't drink, didn't rage. Instead, I sharpened myself with patience. Each clue was another blade, and I collected them one by one, until the truth was too sharp to ignore. Then the envelope arrived, white, heavy. My hands did not shake when I opened it. The results were clear, cold, scientific. 2 of the children were mine. 1 was not. The youngest, her favorite, the one she always protected most fiercely, his. I closed the folder, slid it into my briefcase, and drove. The evening light was dim, the air heavy with rain. I didn't call ahead. I wanted the silence to carry me to the confrontation. She opened the door. Her face froze when she saw me. I didn't speak. I placed the folder on the table, opened it, and let the paper spread. The DNA results, clinical and brutal. Her eyes widened. Then the trembling started. Not mine, hers. Where did you—" I said nothing. I only watched as her mask cracked, as denial failed her. She turned pale, her body folding in on itself, like the lawyers had. The same shaking, the same fear of being seen. I didn't need her confession. The truth was already louder than her words could ever be. She tried to speak, to spin, to explain. I cut through her words with one sentence, flat and final. I met your lawyer. That was enough. She staggered backward, the blood draining from her face. The connection slammed into her. Like a blade. She knew what I knew. Her excuses withered in her throat. She saw, in my stillness, that there was no escape left. I gathered the papers, slid them back into the folder, and placed the divorce documents she had prepared on top. I left them unsigned. Then I leaned in just enough for her to feel the edge of my control. You'll get nothing more from me. Not money, not silence, not dignity. Her lips parted, trembling. Please. But I was already walking away. My revenge wasn't in fury, it was in refusal. In leaving her with the lawyer she thought was her salvation, the man too weak to stand steady in my presence. They deserved each other. Shaking hands, trembling bodies, fragile lies. I drove through the night with the windows down, the cold air cutting clean through me. No anger remained, no grief, only clarity. She had betrayed me with a man who couldn't even hold his own composure. She had gambled everything and lost. I thought of the child who wasn't mine. I felt no hatred, only distance. The truth had built a wall, and I had no desire to climb it. The road stretched forward, endless, dark, and free. I was no longer her husband, no longer bound by lies. When I reached the edge of the city, I whispered the final truth to myself. Quiet, brutal, and final. She took everything from me, and in return, I left her nothing.